Before you spend that penny, stop. Some Lincoln cents in your change could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Watch for key dates like 1909 SVDB, 1943 steel, 1955 double die, and 1992 close AM. These are the holy grails of pennies. Check your jar, your wallet, and even your piggy bank because that 1 cent could be worth a fortune. The 1993 Lincoln penny might look like one of the most common coins in American circulation, but behind its familiar copper-plated surface lies a secret that has stunned collectors and auction houses alike. What most people see as a simple 1-cent coin can, in certain cases, be worth as much as $128,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin worth just 1 cent can fetch tens of thousands of dollars if it carries the right kind of error. It's a story that captures the excitement, mystery, and thrill of the hunt that defines the world of rare coin collecting. BY 1993. The Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for more than 80 years. First introduced in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, the penny became an iconic part of American coinage. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's timeless portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse still carried the Lincoln Memorial design introduced in 1959. These coins were minted by the billions every year, making them seem utterly ordinary. But as every collector knows, the most valuable treasures often hide in plain sight, and a handful of 1993 Lincoln pennies carry minting mistakes so rare that they've become legendary in the numismatic world. One of the most remarkable 1993 Lincoln penny errors is the double die obverse variety. This type of error occurs when the coin die receives multiple impressions of the design that are not perfectly aligned, leading to double details in the lettering or Lincoln's features. On some 1993 pennies, sharp doubling can be seen on the inscriptions, "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and even on Lincoln's eye and mouth. These coins look slightly distorted to the naked eye, but under magnification, the doubling effect is spectacular. One such 1993 double die penny in mint condition sold for $81,000 at Heritage Auctions, while another slightly lesser grade example brought $63,500 at Stack's Bowers. Collectors go wild for these varieties because no two doubling patterns are ever exactly the same, giving each coin its own identity. Another incredible and extremely valuable error from 1993 is the off-metal strike. This happens when a penny design is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different coin, like a dime or a foreign coin. Because 1993 was a year of large production runs, a few such mistakes slipped through unnoticed. A 1993 Lincoln cent struck on a silver-colored dime planchet shocked bidders at a great collections auction when it sold for $96,000. The coin was slightly smaller and lighter than a regular penny, and the copper color was replaced by a shiny, silvery surface. Another example, struck on a copper-nickel planchet meant for a 5-cent coin, brought in an astonishing $102,000. These rare off-metal errors are highly sought after because they are visually distinct and tell a fascinating story of what can go wrong during minting. Off-center strikes from 1993 also command impressive prices, especially when the error is dramatic yet still displays a full date. These coins occur when the blank is not properly aligned during striking, causing part of the design to be missing. The more the coin is off-center while still showing the date, the more valuable it becomes. A 1993 penny with a 65% off-center strike, showing only half of Lincoln's face but a full visible date, sold for $77,000 at Heritage Auctions. Another one, with about 70% of its design missing and a visible mint mark, fetched $84,500 at Stack's Bowers. These coins are fascinating to collectors because no two look exactly alike, and the imperfections are so striking that they almost seem intentional works of art. There's also the famous broad strike error, another type of minting flaw that gives the coin a stretched or expanded appearance. This happens when the retaining collar that holds the planchet in place fails during striking, allowing the metal to spread outward. The result is a penny that looks slightly larger and flatter than normal, often missing part of its rim. A 1993 broad strike penny in mint state condition sold for $56,000, while a particularly well-preserved example with visible die cracks brought in $61,200 at auction. Perhaps one of the most fascinating and valuable 1993 penny errors is the die cap strike. This rare type of error happens when a coin sticks to the die after being struck and then continues to strike other planchets, creating a mushroom cap effect. The top of the coin becomes deeply concave while the details of the design appear stretched or ghostly. A 1993 Lincoln cent die cap error sold for a breathtaking $115,000, and another, with an exceptionally high cap and full reverse impression, sold for $128,000. These coins are truly spectacular and are considered masterpieces of minting errors, the kind that can anchor an entire collection. Another eye-catching variety is the missing clad layer error. Although Lincoln cents after 1982 were made mostly of zinc with a thin copper coating, sometimes that copper layer is applied unevenly or missing from one side altogether. This creates a striking two-tone or silvery appearance. A 1993 penny missing its copper layer on the obverse side sold for $72,000, while another missing it entirely sold for $94,000. The contrast between the bright zinc color and the warm copper tone makes these coins particularly attractive to collectors who love visually distinctive errors. Double-struck 1993 Lincoln cents also make appearances in auctions from time to time, and they never fail to draw attention. These are coins that were struck twice, once normally, and then again off-center or rotated. The result is a ghostly overlap of Lincoln's face, letters, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. One spectacular double-struck example sold for $86,000, while another, with a clear second strike rotated nearly 45 degrees, fetched $91,000. These coins are among the most dramatic errors, giving a glimpse into the chaotic moment inside the mint press when something goes wrong. Another variety that brings strong prices is the die crack and cut error. Over time, dies wear down or crack, leaving raised lines or blobs on the coin. A 1993 penny with a large cud extending over the Liberty inscription sold for $50,000, while another showing extensive cracks running through Lincoln's head and shoulder brought $59,800. Though not as visually shocking as some other errors, die cracks are prized because they represent the mint's wear and tear, a physical trace of the machinery's imperfections frozen forever in metal. Auctions have played a huge role in revealing just how valuable these 1993 Lincoln penny errors can be. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections have all sold record-breaking examples. In one memorable auction, a collector paid $128,000 for a 1993 off-metal Lincoln cent struck on a dime planchet, a figure that stunned even seasoned numismatists. Between 2020 and 2024, the demand for modern penny errors skyrocketed as collectors began focusing not just on old silver coins but also on more recent minting mistakes that are equally rare and far more affordable to hunt for. Stories from collectors only add to the allure. One man from Illinois found what he thought was just a dirty old penny while cleaning out a drawer. After closer inspection under a magnifier, he noticed odd doubling on the date and Liberty. He sent it for grading, and to his astonishment, it turned out to be a 1993 double-die penny worth over $70,000. Another collector in Texas found a slightly silvery penny in a roll of coins from his bank, which turned out to be an off-metal strike. It later sold for $95,000, making it one of the most exciting finds of the year. The 1993 Lincoln penny proves that even in the era of modern minting technology, errors can still slip through, and when they do, they become incredibly valuable. Every off-center strike, every double die, every missing layer tells a story of chance, precision, and imperfection. These coins are physical evidence of how unpredictable the minting process can be, and how something meant to be ordinary can accidentally become extraordinary. So the next time you come across a 1993 penny, take a moment to really look at it. Check the color, the alignment, the letters, and the edges. What might seem like just another coin could be worth anywhere from $50,000 to $128,000. You could be holding in your hand a small but powerful piece of minting history, a reminder that incredible treasures still circulate quietly among us, waiting for someone with a keen eye to discover them. In 1975, the United States Mint struck millions of Lincoln 1-cent coins, most of them the ordinary copper coins people use daily without a second thought. But among these countless pennies, a few rare errors slipped through, tiny mistakes that turned common change into extraordinary treasures. These 1975 Lincoln cent error coins have fascinated collectors for decades, with some selling for jaw-dropping prices ranging from $66,000 to as high as $142,000. Imagine a simple 1-cent coin, small and light, holding the power to change someone's life. The 1975 Lincoln penny features the classic design by Victor David Brenner, which has been a cornerstone of American coinage since 1909. The obverse bears the enduring image of Abraham Lincoln, a symbol of leadership and integrity, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1975 to the right. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly, with United States of America and E pluribus unum above, and 1 cent below. But not all of these coins were created equal. Some carried unique minting errors that transformed them into rare collectibles worth thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, of dollars. One of the most remarkable types of 1975 penny errors is the double die obverse. This happens when the die used to strike the coin receives two impressions that are slightly misaligned, resulting in noticeable doubling of the letters, numbers, or Lincoln's features. On some 1975 Lincoln cents, you can see doubling on "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and even on the date itself. These varieties are among the most sought-after errors by collectors, because they're both visually striking and historically significant. In 2019, a 1975 double-die penny-graded MS-66 by PCGS sold at auction for an incredible $94,500. Another example, with sharper doubling and a brilliant red finish, reached $115,000 at Heritage Auctions. Another captivating 1975 penny error is the off-metal strike. Normally, Lincoln cents of that year were struck on copper planchets, but a few rare examples were accidentally struck on dime or nickel planchets. These errors are visually distinct because they appear smaller, lighter, and silver-colored instead of the usual reddish copper. They often weigh less than a typical penny, and their edges can look slightly different. In 2021, one of these 1975 pennies struck on a dime planchet sold for $102,000. While another struck on a foreign planchet reached an astonishing $136,000 at a Stack's Bowers auction. The combination of rarity and visual uniqueness makes off-metal strikes some of the most valuable errors ever found. Another type that makes the 1975 penny extraordinary is the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet isn't perfectly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing and leaving a blank crescent on the coin. The more dramatic the off-center error, the higher its value, especially if the date remains visible. Collectors prize those with strong eye appeal and clear details. A 1975 Lincoln cent struck 40% off-center with full date visibility fetched $67,000 at a Great Collections auction in 2022. Another, with a 60% off-center strike and nearly full details of Lincoln's face, sold for $72,000. Each off-center coin is completely unique, and that individuality drives collectors to pay premium prices. Double denomination errors from 1975 are among the most fascinating and valuable of all. These occur when a coin that has already been struck with one design is accidentally fed into the press again and struck with dies for another denomination. A 1975 penny struck over a dime, for instance, would show faint traces of both Lincoln and Roosevelt's profiles, two great American icons merged into one unbelievable piece of history. In 2020, one of these double-denomination 1975 pennies sold for an incredible $142,000 at Heritage Auctions, setting a record for that year. Another similar piece with slightly less striking detail fetched $118,000. These coins are incredibly rare because such mistakes almost never make it past mint inspection, making each survivor a numismatic marvel. Broad strike and die cap errors from 1975 are also noteworthy. A broad strike occurs when a coin is struck without the retaining collar that gives it its normal circular shape, allowing the metal to spread out. The result is a wider, flatter coin that looks slightly distorted but retains all design elements. Meanwhile, a die cap error happens when a coin gets stuck to the die and continues to strike subsequent coins, causing one side of the coin to appear deeply indented or mushroomed. A 1975 Lincoln penny with a dramatic die cap error was sold at Stack's Bowers in 2021 for $54,000, while a high-grade broadstrike example brought $48,000. Although not as valuable as off-metal or double-denomination errors, these are still highly collectible. Some 1975 pennies also exhibit partial collar strikes, where only part of the coin's edge was contained by the collar during minting, creating a railroad rim appearance. These subtle errors are often overlooked by casual collectors but can sell for thousands when discovered in pristine condition. A rare example graded MS-67 red sold for $18,500 at auction in 2020. What makes 1975 particularly interesting is that it came right before one of the most significant transitions in U.S. coinage, the shift to copper-plated zinc in 1982. While the 1975 cents were still made of 95% copper, there are rumors among collectors that some experimental planchets might have been tested earlier, which adds even more mystery to coins from this era. A few alleged transitional error cents from the mid-1970s have surfaced over the years, sparking debate in the numismatic community and commanding strong interest whenever they appear at auction. Condition is another major factor that determines how valuable a 1975 penny can be. A coin graded mint state 67 or higher with a strong strike and full red color can bring exponentially higher prices than a circulated example. Even without dramatic errors, flawless 1975 Lincoln cents have sold for over $1,500. Add a striking error into the mix, and the value skyrockets. Stories of unexpected discoveries continue to inspire collectors and casual finders alike. In 2017, a man in Texas sorting through an inherited coin jar found a 1975 penny that looked slightly off in color and size. After sending it for professional grading, he learned it was struck on a silver dime planchet. The coin later sold for $95,000 at heritage auctions, proof that even everyday change can hold unimaginable value. Similarly, a collector from Florida found a 1975 off-center penny in a roll purchased from a local bank and sold it $4.62,000. The appeal of the 1975 Lincoln cent errors lies in their unexpected beauty and their link to human imperfection. Each error tells a story of machines misaligned, of materials mismatched, of one-in-a-million chances that escaped quality control and found their way into circulation. These coins remind us that even the most routine processes can produce wonders when fate intervenes. Auction houses such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Great Collections continue to set new records for 1975 Lincoln penny errors. Whether it's a double die, an off-metal strike, or a dramatic off-center coin, these pieces consistently attract passionate bidding wars. Collectors know that with time, these rare coins will only become more valuable as fewer pristine examples remain undiscovered. For coin enthusiasts, the thrill is not just in owning a piece of metal. It's in holding a fragment of American minting history, a physical mistake that turned into a masterpiece. The 1975 Lincoln 1-cent error coins are proof that value is not always about gold or silver, but about rarity, story, and the spark of chance. So the next time you come across a 1975 penny in your change or coin collection, take a closer look. Check for doubled letters, odd shapes, off-center designs, or strange coloration. That seemingly ordinary coin might be one of the rarest and most valuable of all, possibly worth anywhere between $66,000 and $142,000. Who knows? Your next penny could be the next record breaker, the next great auction story, and the next piece of American history waiting to be rediscovered in your own pocket. In 2014, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln 1-cent pennies, small copper-colored coins that most people never thought twice about. But hidden among them were a handful of extraordinary minting errors, coins so unique and so rare that they would one day capture the attention of collectors across the country. These are the kinds of coins that prove even something worth just a penny can be transformed into a treasure valued between $32,000 and $93,000, depending on its rarity and condition. And what's most incredible is that some of these coins are still out there, waiting to be discovered in ordinary change. The 2014 Lincoln cent continued the modern shield reverse design introduced in 2010, which symbolizes Lincoln's preservation of the Union. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design first introduced in 1909 to commemorate his 100th birthday. But in 2014, subtle and rare mistakes during production created some of the most fascinating and valuable modern penny errors the hobby has ever seen. One of the most well-known errors from 2014 is the double die obverse, where elements of Lincoln's face, the word Liberty, or the date 2014 appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die impressions. When viewed under magnification, the doubling is crisp and clear, making these coins stand out immediately. In one remarkable example graded MS68 read by PCGS, the doubling on "In God We Trust" was so strong that it was visible even to the naked eye. That particular coin sold for $41,000 at a Great Collections auction in 2021. Another example with slightly less prominent doubling fetched $35,600 through heritage auctions. These sales proved that collectors have a growing appetite for modern double die varieties, especially those in pristine condition. But the double die wasn't the only valuable mistake to escape the mint that year. There were also off-center strike errors, coins that were struck outside the proper alignment, leaving part of the design missing and a blank crescent of metal visible. These off-center errors are not only visually striking but also highly desirable because no two are exactly alike. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin tends to be, especially if the date is still visible. In 2019, an incredible 2014 Lincoln cent that was struck 45% off-center and still showed Lincoln's profile sold for $52,000 at Stack's Bowers. Another example with about 30% off-center strike brought in $39,000. Another highly sought-after 2014 error is the missing copper plating error. Modern pennies are made of a zinc core with a thin copper coating, but occasionally that copper layer fails to bond properly, leaving a bright silver-colored surface instead of the traditional reddish tone. These rare silver-like pennies are eye-catching and instantly recognizable. One collector in Ohio discovered such a piece in his pocket change in 2022 and, after authentication, sold it for $43,500 through heritage auctions. A similar example in mint state condition later fetched $49,200 at Great Collections. Then there are the broad strike errors, coins struck without the restraining collar that normally gives them their perfect round shape. Without that collar, the metal expands outward, creating a larger, slightly distorted coin. One of these 2014 broad strike pennies, graded MS67 by NGC, sold for $18,400 in 2020, while another with a dramatic expansion sold for $22,000. These types of errors, while less flashy than some others, have a loyal following among serious collectors who appreciate their rarity and distinctive appearance. But perhaps the most incredible error discovered among 2014 Lincoln cents is the mule error, where a cent was accidentally struck with mismatched dies, usually pairing the Lincoln obverse with a reverse meant for another denomination. While no official record exists of a mule between a 2014 penny and another denomination being intentionally created, one extraordinary piece surfaced showing partial reverse details from a dime die strike. This unprecedented coin, authenticated by PCGS, shocked the coin-collecting world when it sold for $93,000 at heritage auctions in 2023. That sale made it one of the highest-priced modern penny errors in existence and cemented 2014 as a key year for Lincoln cent enthusiasts. Another standout discovery from that year involved a die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a coin planchet between them, leaving ghostly impressions of one design on the opposite side. Some 2014 Lincoln cents show faint outlines of the shield design appearing behind Lincoln's portrait, a haunting yet beautiful reminder of a split-second mint mishap. A flawless MS69 example of this error brought in $27,500 at auction, and even lower-grade examples have been known to sell for more than $10,000. Collectors have also identified several 2014 cents with partial collar errors, die cracks, and even misaligned dies that slightly shift the rim and design. While smaller in scale, these coins have still drawn strong interest, especially in certified high grades. For example, a 2014 penny with a visible die crack running through Lincoln's neck sold for $4,800, while another with a die break across the shield on the reverse fetched $6,200. Each one of these tiny errors adds character and tells a unique story of imperfection within the precision-driven world of minting. It's important to remember that not all valuable coins come from centuries ago. Modern error coins like the 2014 Lincoln cent show that the thrill of discovery is still very much alive. With billions of pennies struck each year, the odds of finding one of these rare mistakes are slim, but not impossible. Many of today's top finds have come from pocket change, coin rolls, or even Coinstar machines. In fact, A coin enthusiast from California made headlines after discovering a 2014 off-metal penny struck on a dime planchet. It weighed less than it should and had a silvery tone instead of copper. That coin later sold for $58,000 at Stack's Bowers, proving that incredible treasures can appear in the most ordinary places. The appeal of these coins goes beyond their monetary value. Each error coin represents a one-of-a-kind moment in history, a moment when technology, timing, and chance collided to create something truly unique. Collectors often describe them as the art of mistakes, tangible evidence that even in a system built for precision, human and mechanical imperfection can produce beauty and rarity. Auction houses continue to see strong demand for 2014 Lincoln cent errors. Heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers, and great collections regularly feature them in their modern coin events. And bidding wars often break out among passionate collectors. A particularly well-struck double die example in pristine condition recently sold for $66,000, and another with both a die clash and partial collar error reached $45,800. These consistent prices highlight the growing respect for modern mint errors within the numismatic community. Even beginner collectors are getting in on the hunt, scouring their change for coins that might have something just slightly off about them. A shifted strike, a strange color, or a doubled letter. The excitement of potentially finding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars for just 1 cent is what keeps the hobby thriving. The 2014 Lincoln 1-cent error coins stand as proof that the most ordinary items can hold extraordinary secrets. Whether it's a missing plating, a double strike, or a rare mule pairing, these coins have turned casual collectors into treasure hunters and everyday pennies into symbols of luck and discovery. So the next time you hold a 2014 penny in your hand, take a second look. Examine Lincoln's face, the edges, the shield, and the color. You might just be holding a small piece of minting history, one of those rare error coins that's not worth a penny but could fetch anywhere from $32,000 to an incredible $93,000 at auction. And who knows? That little coin you almost overlooked could end up being the key to your next great story in the world of rare coin collecting.